Well, hi everyone. I'm John Retlin back with another review of two more Netflix original movies that I saw today, The Warning and Girl. The Warning is a Spanish movie, crime, mystery, thriller thing that isn't really all that mysterious or thrilling, and the other is a Belgian coming-of-age drama. I will get into more details as I dive into spoilers because like any multi-movie reviews that I do, yes, there's going to be spoilers throughout. Which one do I enjoy more? Girl. I enjoyed that one a lot more, and even though The Warning had some good ideas, it didn't implement them all that well. It kind of reminded me of Twin Murders, The Silence of the White City, except that was much more of a traditional crime movie, where this one almost tried to be a bit, sci-fi-ish with its, twists and turns and stuff like that. And apparently it's based on a book or a series of books. I am not familiar with the source material, so I don't know how accurate this is to the book, but you got a cop who witnesses his partner murdered. His partner was going to propose to his girlfriend on a vacation and only 3 days away from retirement. Damn. But in all seriousness, this movie wasn't very good because after he loses his partner, he kind of goes off the deep end, finding out more about what happened in this, when his partner got murdered, because he got murdered in a robbery gone wrong at a convenience store. And it turns out that a lot of murders have taken place at this particular location. Doesn't matter if it's a convenience store, an inn, a bank, or anything. For whatever reason, this particular part of land is steeped in tragedy, and there's a bit of a weird, think about math. Certain ages of people are always there. There's always a 10-year-old boy there. There's always certain adults of this age. The person committing the crime is always this age. And the guy kind of goes absolutely insane. Oh, and there's a bunch of weird caterpillars and moths that fly around and stuff like that. And I suppose maybe if I gave a shit about anybody in this movie, it might actually matter because they try to make us care about the characters. They try to add layers to it. You're going to care about these people, but it only helps if you have characters, and this one really doesn't. There's a connecting theme also of not living your life in fear. There's the mother who also was in Twin Murders, The Silence of the White City, and she actually played, I don't want to say played this exact same role. She was a short-haired cop, and I gotta say was better in that movie than she was in this. And she's not a bad actress, don't get me wrong, but her character was at least a little more fleshed out there. With this one, it has to do with the cop going through going to the absolute insane breaking point to try and find this connecting theme and figure out why these murders are always happening. And somehow we get caught in this weird time, shift where 10 years ago to the cop, and then 10 years to the present day, well, 2018, because this movie came out in 2018, where there's a 10-year-old boy named Nico who is basically bullied at school. His mother is telling him not to live his life in fear. He finds a note in this magazine that it turns out the cop had actually put there 10 years before, because the cop figured out, wait a second, I need to stop this boy born on this particular day from going and getting murdered in that gas station on his 10th birthday. Sure, okay, whatever. He does stop that. They even see each other in the little mirror, at the store, and the cop dies, but Nico lives, and it's an absolute goddamn mess. It's not very good. It's really not very good. Bored now. Going to talk about what I really like, and that is Girl. It is a Belgian drama about a 15-year-old girl named Lara who was born a boy and is going through, transitioning into being a girl. Has not fully transitioned yet. The family is totally on board with this. She lives with her dad and younger brother, and apparently, what a character is actually played by a boy very spectacularly, in great realism. And I do want to say right at the beginning, or right, before I get into the rest of this review, I don't pretend to understand the struggles that transgender people go through, whether man transitioning to woman, woman transitioning to a man, whatever. I don't claim to understand the struggles. I have talked to many people that have gone from, that have, changed from one to the other, and the struggles that they've gone through in some respect. But I don't pretend to mentally know how one can prepare themselves for the backlash they will receive, and what has to happen to their body for them to transform to be who they are. And that movie, or this movie rather, does tackle that very, very well. If you are not a, subtitle fan, if you're not a fan of reading subtitles, you may be turned off by this, but this is actually one of the most absorbing character studies, because you get to see, not so much in real time, but over a series of months and like weeks, months, and even like about a year. And no, the Friends theme was not intended to be referenced there, but you get my point. It shows how much of a struggle it could be to start hormone therapy to live your life, transitioning to being who you really want to be. And Victor Polster, I believe, was the name. If I screw up any of these names, I'm so sorry. Well, Victor Polster was actually, um, that's one of the cast members there, and played the role very, very well, and incredibly well, in fact. And the one thing I liked about this was that the father accepted. It's like, okay, this is who you want to be. I want to understand. I want to help you. And also, Laura wants to be a ballerina. So you can understand while starting hormone therapy and trying to catch up and be a ballerina while going through this change could be dramatic, could be difficult. And they capture that perfectly. I can't say that this movie's absolutely perfect, but it does have a lot of jarring imagery. The amount, there's points where tape is being used to hide, genitalia because, you're in the, it's like she's in the ballerina outfit, but she hasn't fully gone through this transition yet. Once the hormone therapy starts, it's not advancing like she would like. And it gets rather difficult because you can see it eating at her, and the dad's trying to say, hey, I want to help you. You are a girl. This is how I see you. This is who you want to be, but I want to help you. I want to be there for you. I am your father. I want to help. And that was a really, really good dynamic. The little brother, I think he's around 6. He loves who was big brother, now big sister, but is still a kid that acts out and uses the wrong name, to get back at her, and says, hey, please don't do that. And so there's that. There's a few family dinners, a New Year's Eve party, and there's a lot of stuff in there that shows that if a family is truly accepting of somebody, they're like, okay, this is who you are, there we go. That part was good. Also, I want to point out, because a lot of you that watch this know that I'm a wrestling fan. Even if you just watch my movie reviews, you probably can guess I'm a wrestling fan, because I tend to have a lot of wrestling shirts around. But the whole thing, this other thing tackles is like ballet, being a ballerina, and how much pain they put their bodies through, especially their feet, the amount of shit that their feet go through. The whole thing of wrestling isn't ballet. Well, no, because ballet is fucking tough. Look at the feet of a ballet dancer. It is brutal what they put their bodies through. And that is another aspect of this that was visited. It was very, very good. There were some scenes that were a little uncomfortable. Some of the girls from the class are kind of poking and prodding her because she, it's like, well, you've seen us naked, we haven't seen you naked. That kind of stuff. This probably would hit home to a lot of people that were, that have transitioned or are in the process and have dealt with backlash like this. So it tackles everything really well. But as things go on, she gets frustrated, things are not going well, and that, developments aren't happening even with this hormone therapy. And complications, they won't up the dosage because she's not taking care of herself. She wants to do ballet, but she's not eating that much, she's not doing this, she's not sleeping much, or when she sleeps, she oversleeps. She's basically, a lot of things are happening, and the hormones are affecting her body as it would, but everything is really, really getting to her, and it was kind of tough to watch. And then she was so desperate to advance this whole thing and get to where maybe she could get this reassignment surgery for real, or cut everything off. So she literally at the last scene, or one of the last scenes, gets a bunch of ice and gets a pair of scissors and tries to cut it off. Now, facing away from the camera, but there are some scenes that was a jarring scene where I'm like, That was a bit difficult. The dad is in the hospital with her, and everything goes. Obviously she's going to recover and everything, but months later they show her walking around the subway and going to her job, I assume, or going to school. I'm not totally sure. And it cuts to black, and that's it. That's the end of the movie. So really, it's just tackling how difficult a transition could be, a transition especially like that. And I think it captured it pretty damn well. There were, again, a few issues I had, and not even necessarily with the acting, but I thought there was a little bit of padding with this. There were some characters that were just kind of there. But the positives outweigh the negatives, and I'm definitely giving this an A-. It is a fabulous movie. If you aren't into subtitles, though, you're probably not going to enjoy it. And I really like this one a lot more than The Warning. So anyway, agree, disagree with what I said. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. Well, I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.